I will not watch you suffer the complete village. I must go to the village square and expose you.
You dare not!
In the old days, before tarred roads and electric lights reached the villages, there was a land where stories lived longer than people. That land was Umudike. Umudike was not a rich village, but it was a proud one. Mud houses stood in quiet rows. Palm trees leaned toward the sun. Children chased goats in the open square, their laughter echoing between the huts. Every morning, smoke rose gently from cooking fires. Women pounded yam with steady rhythm. Men walked to their farms with hoes resting on their shoulders. Life was simple. But peace was not complete, because fear also lived in Umudike. And fear had a name, Ogbadike. Ogbadike was the strongest man the village had ever known. Not strong like a wrestler, not strong like a hunter. His strength was different. It was the kind of strength that made elders fall silent when he entered a gathering, the kind that made young men lower their eyes, the kind that made even dogs move out of his path. When Ogbadike carried firewood, the bundle looked small on his shoulder. When he walked on his farm, the earth broke open easily, as if afraid to resist him. People praised him during the day, but at night they whispered, "A man does not become this strong without help." Strange things had been happening in Umudike. Sometimes a healthy goat would be found dead in the morning with no wound on its body. Sometimes a whole portion of farmland would dry up overnight, even during the rainy season. Children fell sick suddenly, their eyes dull, their bodies weak. Whenever the elders gathered to discuss these things, one name was never mentioned, Ogbadike's. Because every time misfortune struck the village, his own house remained untouched. His barns were always full, his yams were always fresh, his animals never fell sick. People noticed, but fear sealed their mouths. Only one man allowed doubt to grow into curiosity. His name was Obina. Obina was a farmer like many others, but he was known for two things. He observed everything. He spoke little. Every morning before the cock crowed twice, Obina was already on his feet. He walked far into the bush to reach his farmland, farther than most men dared to go. And because of this, he saw things others did not. One evening, as the sun began to sink and shadows stretched across the land, Obina packed his tools and started his journey home. That was when Obina saw Ogbadike. Ogbadike was not walking toward the village. He was walking away from it, toward the deep bush. This was strange. In Umudike, everyone knew one rule. When the sun begins to die, the bush belongs to spirits. Obina slowed his steps. He watched. Ogbadike looked around once, then twice, and then he disappeared between the trees. Something stirred inside Obina. Fear told him to go home. Curiosity told him to follow. After a long moment, curiosity won. Keeping his distance, Obina followed Ogbadike into the bush. The deeper they went, the quieter the forest became. Even the insects seemed to hold their breath. The air felt heavy. Obina felt it in his chest. Then Ogbadike stopped. Obina hid behind a fig tree. Ahead was a clearing Obina had never seen before. In the middle of the clearing was something that made his heart tighten. A pit, wide, deep, freshly dug. Around it were strange marks carved into the soil, marks Obina recognized from old stories his grandfather used to tell, stories meant to warn children, not educate adults. Then Ogbadike began to chant, low, slow, dangerous. The words did not sound human. Obina's legs trembled. As he leaned back, his foot pressed against something dry, a branch, crack. The chant stopped. Silence fell like death. Slowly, very slowly, Ogbadike turned, and their eyes met. In that moment, Obina understood something clearly. He had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed, and the bush had witnessed it all. For a long moment after the branch snapped, Nothing happened. The forest stood still. Even the wind refused to move. Obina held his breath, his heart beating so loudly he feared it would betray him. Then Ogbadike spoke. "Come out." His voice was calm, too calm. "Come out, Obina," he said again. "The bush already knows your name." Obina's legs felt weak. Running crossed his mind, but the thought died as quickly as it came. Slowly, shaking, he stepped out from behind the tree. Ogwadike stood in the clearing like a carved statue, his eyes dark and steady. The strange symbols around the pit seemed to glow faintly in the dying light. "How long have you been there?" Ogwadike asked. Obina tried to speak, but his mouth was dry. I was returning from my farm," he finally said. Ogbadike smiled. "A lie," he replied gently. "The bush hates lies." Before Obina could move, Ogbadike closed the distance between them. The speed shocked him. One moment, Ogbadike was standing near the pit. The next, his hand clamped around Obina's shoulder. The grip was painful, not just painful, crushing. Obina cried out. "No one will hear you," Ogbadike said quietly. "This place belongs to older things." Obina struggled, but it was like fighting the earth itself. "Please," Obina begged, "I didn't mean—" "You saw," Ogbadike interrupted, "and seeing is enough." He dragged Obina toward the pit. The smell of fresh earth filled Obina's nose. His mind raced. "People will notice I am gone," Obina said desperately. "They will ask questions." Ogbadike laughed softly. "They always ask, and they always forget." They reached the edge of the pit. Obina peered down and felt cold spread through his chest. The pit was deeper than he imagined. Dark, hungry. "This land demands silence," Ogbadike said, "and tonight you will give it that silence." With a sudden shove, Obina fell. The fall knocked the breath from his body. Pain shot through his legs and back. For a moment, all he could do was gasp. Above him, the sky looked like a small circle. Ogbadike peered down. "You are not the first," he said calmly, "and you will not be the last." Then he began to fill the pit. Soil rained down. Dry leaves followed. Small stones struck Obina's body. Obina screamed, "Help me, please!" No answer came. The opening grew smaller. Darkness closed in. Finally, silence. Obina lay at the bottom of the pit, trembling. His body ached. His throat burned. Hours passed, or maybe it was minutes. Time lost meaning. He cried. He prayed. He remembered his mother's voice. He remembered the sun on his farm. At some point, exhaustion overtook fear. Then, a sound. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. A man's voice spoke softly. Strange, these tracks are not animal tracks. Hope surged inside Obina. He gathered his remaining strength. "Help me, please!" he cried out. The footsteps stopped. "Who is there?" the voice asked. A face appeared above the pit. It was Aduma, a hunter known for walking paths others feared. Aduma widened the opening, pulled Obina out. Obina collapsed, weeping. When he finally spoke, his words poured out like flood water. The chants, the pit, the sacrifices, Ogbadike. Aduma listened without interrupting. When Obina finished, the hunter's face hardened. This secret is too heavy for one man to carry and too dangerous to remain buried. As dawn approached, they turned toward Omodike, not quietly, but with truth. Dawn came slowly to Omodike. The sun rose as it always had, spreading soft light across the mud houses and narrow paths. Women came out to fetch water. Men prepared to go to their farms. But something felt different. Whispers moved faster than the morning breeze. Obina had returned. And he had not returned alone. Aduma the hunter walked beside him, his hunting staff resting on his shoulder. Some crossed themselves. Some shook their heads in disbelief. They had searched for Obina the previous night. They had called his name. They had found nothing. Yet here he stood, alive. The village square filled quickly. Elders took their seats beneath the old Iroko tree. Children were pushed aside. Women stood in clusters, murmuring prayers under their breath. When Obina stepped forward, his legs trembled, but his voice did not. He told them everything, slowly, carefully, clearly. He spoke of the bush, the clearing, the pit, the chant that did not sound human. As he spoke, silence fell over Umudike. When he finished, no one spoke. Then one elder cleared his throat. "These are heavy words," the elder said, "words that can break a village." Aduma stepped forward. "That is why they must be tested," he said, "not ignored." He pointed toward the bush. "Let us go and see." Fear rippled through the crowd, but the elders stood. And when elders stand, the village follows. They walked, men with torches, women holding their wrappers tightly, children watching from a distance. The bush welcomed them with silence. When they reached the clearing, gasps escaped many mouths. The pit was there. The markings were there. Fresh earth still bore the memory of what had been done. An elder fell to his knees. "This is forbidden ground," he whispered. Before anyone could speak further, footsteps echoed behind them. Ogbadike had arrived. He stood tall as always, calm, unbothered. "You disturb sacred places," he said evenly, "places that protect this village." Some people stepped back instinctively, but the elders did not move. An elder raised his staff. "Power that feeds on darkness poisons the land," he said, "and Umudike is tired of paying its price." For the first time, Ogbadike's face changed, just slightly. The elders began to speak the old words, words meant not for punishment, but for truth. The air shifted. The symbols on the ground cracked. The pit trembled. Ogbadike staggered. His shoulders dropped. His breath became heavy. The strength left him like smoke leaving firewood. He fell to his knees. No thunder struck. No spirit appeared. Only a man remained, weak, human. The elders did not kill him. They did something worse. They banished him. He was stripped of his land. His name was erased from village memory. He was sent away to wander without roots. As Ogbadike walked away, the forest grew quiet. The drums never sounded again. In the weeks that followed, Umudike healed. Rain returned at the right time. Crops grew strong. Children laughed freely again. Obina returned to his farm, not as a chief, not as a hero, but as a man who refused to let fear bury the truth. And the elders taught the children a new proverb. Strength that hides in darkness will one day collapse in the light.
Thank you for watching. If you love this video, do well to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.